Hello and welcome to Ask Your Academic. Today's session will cover the MSc Oral Sciences and we are joined by the programme lead, Gordon Ramage. Thanks very much for all the questions that have been submitted. We will put them to Gordon today. If you have any further questions, you can pop them into the chat box and we'll keep an eye on that. And if we've got time at the end, we can jump onto those. If after the session you have any further questions, you can contact the programme administrator and those details can be found on the programme webpage on our website. But I'll pop those details into the chat box just so you've got them. We are recording the session today and that will be made available to you probably once all our sessions are complete. So you'll not receive that link immediately, but it will come to you. So we do only have 30 minutes, so I think we'll get stuck into our questions if that's okay. So our first question we have is, I want to know how the programme MSc in Oral Sciences will help me take up research in my career in the field of dentistry.
Okay, so thank you for that question. So just to give you a background on myself first, I'm Professor Gordon Ramage. I am the programme lead and I'm a microbiologist, so I'm not a clinician. So really just as a starting point, that the programme is not a clinical MSc. There is no clinical exposure. The courses within the programme are all dealt with in either laboratories or classroom environments. But coming back to your question, then really what the programme is about is equipping all the students and the ability to undertake research. So you will achieve skills and expertise that will be able to help you undertake independent research. So for students, for example, can either research directly associated with dental science, some of the associated disciplines, technology laboratories. A number of students have gone on in Glasgow, so they've gone on to work within testing COVID patient samples and so on and so forth. So fundamentally, you are equipped with skills which allow you to think, allow you to analyse, how to present. So all the critical skills that make you a researcher. It's not about regurgitating dentistry. Okay.
Thank you. When do we get to choose our course modules?
Okay, so when you arrive, which I'm presuming should be sometime sort of in September, you will undergo your registration and so on and get settled. The programme starts pretty quickly, so you'll be expected to choose your relevant course within the first week of arriving. So there's a whole range. So we have what's called core skills and optional courses. So core and optional. So in semester one, you'll undertake the core courses, which are oral sciences research skills. So that's 20 credits. Then evidence-based medicine and statistics, which is 20 credits. That's also core. And also a course called Translational Approaches in Oral Sciences. So that makes up 50 credits. So that is all core. What you have in terms of options, and I suppose that's where the question comes from, is in first semester you need to have that other 10 credits because first semester is 60 credits in total. You'll be able to choose from either ethics, quality improvement, or laboratory skills. So there's other 10 credits which you are able to choose from, and we will guide you because, for example, the ethics, the course ethics is really quite difficult, and we would advise specific students to take that. A number of students benefited from the quality improvement and the laboratory skills course because many of you will be dentists and you've probably never undertaken research or been in a lab before. So some of those courses are useful. But in saying that, there is some overlap in terms of some of the courses that we offer as well. So if the laboratory skills is external to us, so we don't offer that. but one of the other parts of the cluster, if you like, have that, and that's an option for us. In the second semester, you also have options. So you undertake the core courses, therapeutics and diagnostics, which is 20 credits, and then an advanced research skills course. So that builds upon the oral sciences research skills in the first semester. And then you're given the options of periodontitis and implications of oral disease, infection prevention and dentistry, which is another course, or there's another bioinformatics course, which some of our students took this year, which again, is external to us, but depending on what you want to achieve, then there's different options available. So the essence of the question is you pick your first options really quite quickly. You don't have to worry about the second semester. And then in the third semester, it's the dissertation if you achieve the grades in order to move in to do your dissertation. Okay, but that will become clearer. You know, I can go into specifics now, but it's quite complex, and I think it's probably too much information for you right now.
Yeah, thank you. There's another question here, but I think that kind of ties into what you've just said, is to ask more about the detailed timetable for the programme. Okay,
so this will, the programme timetable will be provided by the programme administrator, but it'll automatically sync with your university calendar, so it'll appear quite quickly. What I would say is that it might appear that you've got maybe 3, 4, 5 classes in the week, and you think, well, I'm not actually doing that much. But for every 1 hour of direct contact time, you will be expected to do 10 hours. And we have an induction session, and we bring along students who have been on the course, who have just finished the program, and they tell you exactly that be prepared for a lot of work. And many of the students disregard that information and find themselves really struggling. So please do not come and attempt to take a part-time job. Many students do that, and then they get in real difficulty, because the amount of work that we require you to do, the first 2 or 3 weeks might seem slow, but when all the assessments start coming in from different courses you're doing, then it really mounts up, and a number of students struggle very badly. So the calendar is there, indicative to meet us and undertake things, but we expect student-led learning more so in peer groups and so on. So there is very few hours free to do other things. So I'm just giving you that information now, because you will be surprised by the amount of work. Okay.
Thank you. How many classes per week do we have, and where are the majority of classes conducted?
Yeah, so as I said, there's probably in the region of 4 to 5 classes plus some ad hoc activities. So one of the things we do in the first semester is called journal clubs, and that gives an opportunity within mentor groups to meet us. But there's a range of classes which will either be online, just based on how it's delivered or the personnel that are delivering it. We try and diarise it within the dental school, but given the class size has expanded over the past few years, then it may be that we'll be on the main campus, similar to what you see behind me in terms of the main campus. There's a range of classes which are realistically a 15 to 20 minute walk from the dental school, which is in the city centre, to the West End, where the main university is. So most of the labs are at the main campus, just because we don't have the lab facility, you know, the size of the lab facilities at the dental school to undertake the labs. So those will be in the main university. But so it's kind of, in first semester you're moving around a little bit. Okay.
Thank you. Could you tell us a bit more about the job prospects after the master's programme?
Sure. So, you know, so there is no promises. Job options are variable. We have some students, as I alluded to, that have gone on to join laboratories, because it's surprising, because when we thought that many of the students coming on to the programme, well, they are dentists, and we thought many of them would go back to work in academic institutions at home, but we found that a number of our students are really keen to transition out of dentistry. or perhaps to do things allied to dentistry. So some of them have come on to work in microbiology labs, say the Lighthouse lab, and we have some information of students, a range of different jobs. You have, if you undertake the masters, then you have the ability to stay in the UK and work for up to 2 years. So if you can secure employment, then there's opportunities. Some students have gone on to do their clinical exams, which allow them to maybe then transition into being dentists in the UK, or take their clinical qualifications forward. So there is a range. We have close contacts with GlaxoSmithKline Oral Healthcare, you know, and those guys will come and speak to you about what they do and so on and so forth. But really, it's up to the individual. And even in the first 2 or 3 months of arriving, then you should be considering what your next move is. I spend a lot of time providing references for students who want to do PhDs, and that's one of the things. For example, we have one student who has successfully gained a BBSRC GSK studentship at the University of Sheffield, so she's fully funded. So it doesn't have to pay a thing, and she's getting paid. So there is opportunities, but it's up to you and how well you do.
Thank you. If I have problems studying my programme, is there an available tutor or support to help?
Yes, there is. So myself and several others act as tutors. So depending on the class size, we'll probably have groups of 5 to 6 students, and we will meet every week or every 2 weeks as journal clubs, but we also discuss other elements of your learning, what's going on. But we do rely quite heavily on peer support groups. So within those groups, we would expect you to interact with one another, support one another. We use Microsoft Teams quite a lot, and I mean, if you want to, we might come to this question later, but people are asking about preparation. The key preparation, if you like, is being able to use Microsoft. Can you use Teams? Can you use Excel? Can you use PowerPoint? I'm surprised with the number of students who come from the dental route who are not familiar with it. So if you want to do anything right now, then familiarize yourself with Microsoft Teams, because we'll expect you to engage in that. We'll ask questions every day, particularly in the first 2 or 3 months. And that's where we'll put pieces of questionnaires, provide coursework and so on. So going back to your question, the tutor groups, then we are there to answer your questions, but we also hope that your peer support will provide that first port of call before you ask questions. No question's a silly question, because if you're thinking it, somebody else is also thinking it. But we like to do it through Teams, because if you ask that question, then we can respond, and then everyone gets the answer. Okay.
Thank you. I think you already kind of mentioned this, but do I need to do some experiments in the laboratory?
Yes, you do. So as I said earlier, there is two courses, so 20 credits in the first semester, which is Oral Sciences research skills, and in that you will have a virtual lab experiment. And the reason we do that is because we started it in the pandemic, and it worked really, really well, because the students then understood exactly what was involved in the design and implementation of experiments and analysis. So we do that, which is a summative assessment, which means you are assessed on that. But then that is a prelude to then going into the laboratory and actually undertaking the experiments. So you will do that in first semester, towards the end of first semester. And then in the second semester, you have advanced laboratory research skills, which then provides an opportunity to do more advanced techniques such as quantitative PCR, ELISAs. You learn about the microbiome, maybe some measure cytokines and chemokines and things. So there is the ability to do that. In terms of dissertations, then the likelihood is that most of the dissertations will be data heavy or systematic reviews, simply because of the volume of the students, but we'll negotiate any sort of formative laboratory experience. So we want to try and give a uniform experience for all students, and the capacity of the research labs are just not enough to provide a wet lab project for everyone. So I just want to be upfront about that. Okay.
Thank you. So how do I prepare for the programme?
So we get this question every year, and I've had some students emailing me already. The answer to that is there's little you can do to prepare. You need to disengage yourself from what you've learned as an undergraduate dentist. There is no textbooks, there is no regurgitation of knowledge. This programme is not about learning facts and figures to then be examined upon. It's open book, if you like. It's a very steep learning curve. And you're not here to learn about dentistry per se. You're here to learn the skills and approaches to apply research in dentistry. So irrespective of who you are or how good you are, you're going to struggle in the first few weeks to the month. But you will, after time, become a bit of an expert. It's all about being able to synthesize and critically analyze complex ideas and thoughts in the science of dentistry. So you'll go from having little understanding how to read scientific papers to being ability to be able to write abstracts, ability to create websites, the ability to stand up and give oral presentations in front of your peers. That's what it's about. It's not about learning, you know, what periodontitis is. We expect students who are coming onto the programme to know dentistry. And that's a prerequisite for being able to then, that's the vocabulary we use. But fundamentally, we're here to teach you research skills. So there's little you can do other than, as I alluded to, make yourself familiar with Microsoft products, and you'll learn other software on top of that. But if you can do a PowerPoint presentation, I think in the induction session, one of the first things I ask you to do is put together a PowerPoint presentation and introduce yourself to everyone on Zoom. Okay, so that's what we want to do.
Thank you. I want to know whether the degree leads to registration from GDC as a dental hygienist.
The answer is no. We are not an accredited course. We are not a clinical course. So any GDC registration, you would need to undertake clinical exams through the GDC, and that would be up to you to organise that. There is costs and so on. I'm not aware of any dental hygienists being registered by the GDC that have come through the programme, but it's not to say you can't be. I know I've had a few references from individuals asking for that. But that's external to us. You know, I'll say it again, we are not a clinical course and don't expect to be seeing a clinic. Okay.
Thank you. After this course in oral sciences, what is the scope of doing PhD in this subject, and do the university have this option?
So I think I've answered it to a certain extent. There is, you know, students who have gone on to do PhDs and to publish papers. It's difficult. So the funding landscape is such that it's a very competitive. There is a price differential on students from a home student to an overseas student and finding those international fees. But as I said, one of our students has managed to overcome that obstacle. The University of Glasgow do have various scholarships that are available. Again, these are highly competitive, and you'll probably find that within your home country, there is opportunities for additional funding. But it really depends on the individual, what they want to do, because what you think you might want to do now might be different once you've come onto the programme and seen what opportunities are there. Just because you want to do a PhD, for example, with us, wouldn't mean that you necessarily get to do one, because we have a theme of work, and unless it fits in there, and unless you are, you know, an excellent student, then we don't just take students for the sake of taking students. So it's highly competitive. But in saying that, then the natural progression from MSc to do a PhD is what's kind of expected, because, you know, a PhD will give you much more opportunity for the global market. The MSc will give you that, but I think the PhD will give you, you know, above and beyond.
Thank you. And how will we be assessed?
Yeah, so the assessment will be quite alien for many of you, because you'll have been used to clinical examinations and lots of multiple choice and short answer questions. We have none of that at all. Okay, so be prepared to be able to write an essay, to critically analyse literature and ideas and write a structured essay. You will have essays, you'll have laboratory reports, there'll be an abstract exercise, you'll design a website, you will have many oral presentations, you'll write grant proposals, and at the end, if you progress to the dissertation, then there's that on top of it as well. So it's a very heavy workload, so it's very different from undergraduate life. What I would say is, again, when asking about preparation, is that you must familiarise yourself what plagiarism is, and what plagiarism is in your home country might be different from what we perceive it as. So just to give you context, we have a couple of students this year who have fallen foul of plagiarism. So basically they have copied text, or if they have paid services for people writing assignments, and they've been caught and they've been severely punished, and they won't get their MSc as a result of that. So please listen to what plagiarism is when we tell you about it, but prepare yourself for it, and you must not get caught out with getting stressed and then reaching out to the wrong people to support you, because we are wise to all these things, and we have to keep the integrity of the university at the forefront, and that's why we're the best dental school in the country. So we will catch plagiarism. So I'm telling you that now so that you're under no illusion of what the rigor that we go through. We have so many different pieces of coursework to mark, but we are rigorous. Okay.
Thank you. I'm just looking in the Q&A box, and we've got a question here I think you've sort of touched upon actually. Will we have to choose topics for dissertation which will be patient data related, or will we have to work in labs?
So, so the model we're moving to is you will have, so some students will opt for a systematic review or some sort of semi-systematic review where you're reviewing literature and so on with a defined research question. You will be allocated supervisors, and what we try to do is try and allocate supervisors to your subject specialty, so that this question's not really come up. So what I would say is that we engage very early with you in what your interests are. So if you are interested in chirology or perio, orthodontics, so on and so forth, then we will try and push you to maybe undertake, so the questions and things that are involved in the assessment are very open-ended. So quite often you have an opportunity to write in a specific area. So I think I alluded to earlier that you will become an expert. So rather than doing a random assortment of subjects, then you could specialize in, for example, endodontics and tailor most of your assignments to an endodontics. And that would sort of lead you towards doing a dissertation relevant to endo. That's just an example. It could be periodontal and so on and so forth, or something quite different. But you will be appointed to somebody who's kind of an expert in that area. And just because you maybe want to do a project in a specific area doesn't mean you'll get to do it, because we need to have people who can supervise. And if there's no experts, then you can't supervise in an area you're not expert to. So there is a level of negotiation. But these dissertation projects will be mostly data analysis from data sets. It could be patient data, it could be lab derived data. So there's a whole range of things we can provide. But again, it's more about the skills and expertise in getting there that's more important than the actual doing. We find that because our dental students don't have the background laboratory experience, even though you have a couple of labs, it doesn't give you enough to be able to adequately enter into the laboratory and do a project within a short period of time. You've got about 2 or 3 months, and we're finding that it might be disadvantaging some of those students who do the wet projects. So for fairness and integrity, then providing these systematic reviews and data analysis type projects is probably the most appropriate. Though we can negotiate, particularly somebody who might come in with a science background, and we have 2 or 3 students who have come through with science, they will be allowed to do a wet lab project because they have the requisite skills. but we think it's a disadvantage to those who have never really been in a lab to then be asked to deliver at the same level who's a science graduate who's had 4 years in a lab.
Thank you. Another one that's come through here is, can I select data from my country hospital for my dissertation?
That's a possibility. Again, the supervisor would need to have oversight of that data and have a look at it, and would work with you to look at that and see whether it's an appropriate question. But it makes our life easier if there's a data set worth, so again, you were asking earlier about preparation, so if you're well prepared and you have data sets, then there's nothing to say to preclude that, but you would have to look at it and work with you on that.
Great, thank you. I think that's all the questions I've got that were submitted beforehand, and that's all the questions now answered in the chat box. I don't know if there's anything else, Gordon, you'd like to add in that you think's not been covered.
No, I'm just really to give everyone a background of the growth. So, so we started off back in 2017 as a little experiment program, and we had 2 students who came onto it. The following year that became 6, which became 12, which became 25, which became 26. We're expecting there to be around about 30 students this year. And the experience we've had with the students has been excellent, so we have some truly exceptional students that have come on and really challenged us. So we are dynamic and we try and adapt and change and improve the program. So many of you may have already spoken to students who have been on the program, depending on where you're from. And we hope those experiences are good. We try and do our best, I think, but really just want to re-emphasize that it's not a clinical program, and don't want you to be missold a product that's not what you want. It's a 1-year program, which makes it, I guess, more affordable and access to the UK higher education system and within a school of dentistry. And I think it's a really good platform for students to then get an idea whether they actually want to do research. Because some students, I would advise every student to do an MSc before a PhD, because sometimes you think you want to do a PhD and then you realise that actually it's not for me. There is a lot of work in this program, and I can't emphasise that enough. It's difficult, and we try and tailor the assessments so that it's not all building up on top of each other, but be prepared to do some hard work, but it will be enjoyable.
Thank you. Well, that is us now at the end of our session. I've noticed a couple of questions just coming through there last minute. What I would say is, if you do have any extra questions, if you send them through to the programme administrator, they can get picked up there. There's also additional details on the website on every programme page, so you might actually find the answer that you're looking for there too. So thanks everybody for your time. As I said, we are recording this session, and we will be sharing that link in due course. So in the meantime, everybody take care of yourself, and we hope to see you all very soon. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye-bye.